Welcome to this week's weekly rundown. If you're looking for links, they are down below. But if you're here for a rundown or you're just here to watch all my content for this week, it's coming up right after the beep. But anyway, here's the rundown. First off, I got into an internet debate with the Red Power Ranger. He's also an MMA fighter and he's actually a really cool guy. This last video was the video that kind of settled everything. I made a little funny Rocket League video because I'm trying to make a little bit more gaming content now, so if you'd like to see more of that content, let me know. In one of my videos, people decided to say that Democrats and Republicans are essentially the same, so I addressed that point in this video, and then many of them decided to double down in that comment section. I started getting a lot of comments saying that if they weren't the same, then Obama would have tried to codify Roe v. Wade back when he had the supermajority in 2009. I addressed that claim in this video. And lastly, I've been getting a few accounts that are trying to pretend to be me to get people to give them money, I guess. But anyway, these are all scam accounts. Do not trust them. I cover that in this video. But anyway, all of these videos will play in that order in just a second. But if you're looking to watch just one of those videos, or if you're looking to watch it on a different platform, the links to those videos are down below. And without further ado, all of these videos are gonna play in 3, 2, 1. So I didn't mean to get into an argument with my favorite Power Ranger a couple of days ago, and I think luckily both of us have kind of said our piece, and it seems like we're still a fan of each other's content, but there are a couple of things that I want to clarify. And before I do want to say that I do love this person's content. Not only do I love his content, but I also love him as an actor. The only thing that we seem to be disagreeing about is politics, so definitely go and check out his channel because he is phenomenal. And I recommend that you watch to the end because I actually give him the last word in this video because he says something that we 100% agree on. But anyway, let's get into this. First off, when you said this...
If you wanted to have an opinion about the controversial Sean Strickland fight decision last night, nobody's gonna stitch your stuff on here and say that you need to do better.
I think that we can all agree that if I decided to make a video about fighting because it would be a largely uneducated take and I would be incredibly wrong about it, I would get countless stitches in comments telling me that I was wrong. Out of all subjects on the internet that people feel entitled to correcting others about, politics is probably the most prominent. Secondly, when you said this...
But as far as motivating people to do more research as to how and why they vote, that's not my job. That's your job, apparently. Like, yeah, I make political musings every once in a while, but just because I have a sizable following doesn't mean that I should be thrust into this role that you think is more beneficial for society than, like, I did.
I feel that maybe you have a fundamental misunderstanding of what I was trying to say there. I am not trying to say that it's your job as a content creator to make political content. What I'm trying to say is political content is something that, as a content creator, it's your responsibility to take seriously. Unlike the subjects of sports, movies, video games, and all of the other stuff that we talk about on social media, in the world of politics, if a content creator, especially with a sizable following who implicitly trusts them, is making political content which is not informed, that content creator is unintentionally spreading misinformation to people who are likely to vote based on that misinformation. Even if it's just a sarcastic video, even if it's just a political musing, even if it's just a 15-second joke. Now, all of these kinds of videos are okay, but if you're going to make a 15-second video that's supposed to be funny, it's still important for that video to be well researched, because people take the ideas and the jokes within that video and they vote with them. But because I love your work and you're my favorite Power Ranger, let me end this video with something that we 100% both agree on, and I'll let you have the last word. Take it away.
Now, keeping in line with this milk analogy, I don't think that you should vote for Trump. I think that a vote for Trump means more milk spilt. But spilling less milk isn't cleaning up milk. And that's why this video went so viral, is because of that apathy. Nobody's cleaning anything. They're just like, oh, you spilt less milk than I did, so I should be president now. You know what I mean? Anyways.
As a striker, what's your top priority? I put the ball in the hole. Right, okay, except for when. No exceptions. All balls go in all holes. Okay, well, what if the ball is close to your hole? Well, first we do an epic save, and then we turn around, and then I put the ball in the hole. I guess we're back on the both sides are the same argument. This person's saying that AOC votes for the same defense spending bill as Ted Cruz does. And what's particularly fascinating to me is you can actually go and look to see what bills Congress people vote for. And you can actually go see what their vote was, whether it's yay or nay. For instance, this is the military spending bill, and AOC voted no for that. And to me, I think that's the most interesting part of all this, is that people that are saying that both sides are the same are not willing to go and look up individual bills to see what that side is actually voting for. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that you should be loyal to a political party. In fact, I have several videos in which I talk about how that is bad to be loyal to a political party. But saying that the Democrats and Republicans have the same effect on our legislation and therefore the same effect on our country is flagrantly false. And it can be easily proven just by a simple Google search or going to congress.gov. For instance, I often get the question, why didn't Democrats codify Roe v. Wade before the Supreme Court overturned it? And the answer is, they did put legislation in, and they did vote for that legislation. They were just overruled. This bill was called the Women's Health Protection Act of 2021, and as you can tell from the name, it was actually introduced before Roe v. Wade was overturned. It passed the House with all Democrats except for one voting yay, and all Republicans except for two, which weren't voting nay. It then headed to the Senate, where all Democrats who were voting except for Joe Manchin voted yes. Every single Republican who voted no. Which means if we had one more Democrat or West Virginia just did better at their primaries, we would have never lost abortion access. And this applies to pretty much everything important that we need to pay attention to. For instance, if you look at Gaza, there have been many bills introduced by Democrats to condemn the actions of Israel. Now I need to remind you that party loyalty is bad, and not all Democrats condemn the situation going on right now in Gaza. But saying that both parties are the same when only members of one party are trying to do something about the situation that's going on in Gaza right now is frankly a little dumbfounding to me. If you're going to say that both parties are the same, you need to provide evidence for this. And the evidence that we can all find by just searching through congress.gov vastly disproves that. There are a lot of things to complain about when you look at the Democratic Party, but saying that they are exactly the same as Republicans or that they will affect the country in the same way is blatantly spreading misinformation, whether it's intentional or not. This comment and others like it are on videos where I refute the claim that Democrats and Republicans are essentially the same. And the evidence that they're using to demonstrate the claim that Democrats and Republicans are the same is asking why Obama didn't use his supermajority back in 2009 to codify Roe v. Wade. But before we get into that, this is the list of all of the senators in that Congress. And this is the list of how many of them are left. And the reason I bring this up is because even if you were right, even if your claim was sound, even if you did have evidence to bring to the table, and even if there was nothing that I could say to refute it, you're still not arguing that Democrats and Republicans are the same. You're arguing that Democrats from 16 years ago are the same. Which means even if you were right, you're still arguing a very different point than you're claiming that you are. 16 years is a long time. Babies born during the time period of that Congress can drive now. In fact, there were 11-year-old children during that Congress that are now so old that they got elected into Congress themselves during the time period that Roe v. Wade was overturned. And as a result, even if you were right about this claim, even if there's nothing that we can say to refute it, you're still not arguing that we shouldn't vote for Democrats today. You're arguing that we shouldn't vote for Democrats who were running 16 years ago. And on that point, I think very few of us would disagree with you. But the thing is, you're still not right. Those Democrats were also not the same party as the Republicans. Those Democrats were fighting against Republicans as well, and they accomplished a lot of stuff. Before that Congress, health insurance companies weren't required to provide birth control. So if you're on the pill right now and insurance is paying for that, you can thank those Democrats. And before that Congress, insurance was also not required to provide preventative care, which means mammograms, well-woman visits were all not required to be provided with insurance. A lot of things that we take for granted right now today are only possible because of those Democrats with that supermajority. And they fought vehemently against the Republicans who were opposed to all of that legislation back when that happened. Which means the claim that they are the same as Republicans, even back then, is just demonstrably false. Now, to answer your question, why didn't they codify Roe v. Wade while they had the chance to? Because, simple enough, back then the Supreme Court was not threatening to overturn it. Abortion access at that point in time was considered safe and permanent. Now, you can disagree with the assessment that abortion access was safe and permanent because clearly it was not. But that's not relevant to this discussion. It's also not relevant to this discussion if you disagree that that was a good reason to prioritize the Affordable Care Act. These conversations, while incredibly important, are not related to the initial claim that's being refuted and is the topic of discussion right now, which is the claim that Democrats and Republicans are essentially the same. Because again, even if you disagree with the decision to prioritize everything that the 111th Congress passed, your disagreement does not change the fact that Republicans were on the opposite side of all of that. And keep in mind that even if that did mean that, it still doesn't serve as evidence for the claim that Democrats today are the same as Republicans today. Because Democrats today did try to codify Roe v. Wade, and they did it a year before Roe v. Wade was overturned. Now, you may be able to find some similarities, and a lot of them I addressed in that last video. But just because two things have one thing in common does not mean that they are the same thing. This is not a discussion about whether or not you like the Democrats. This is not a discussion about whether or not you should vote for Democrats. This is not even a discussion about whether or not Democrats are the good guys in any of these scenarios. And most importantly, this is not about party loyalty. I have made many videos showing that party loyalty is bad. This is a discussion about the claim that Democrats and Republicans are virtually the same, and that claim is demonstrably and flagrantly false. If you want to have a data-driven discussion, we can talk about why you refuse to vote for the Democrats. We can talk about Gaza, we can talk about capitalism, we can talk about unkept campaign promises. All of these things I've talked about in many other videos, and chances are we agree more than we disagree. But saying that they're the same, or even saying that they're just as bad as Republicans, is something that's demonstrably untrue. When you lead with this claim, you are unintentionally or intentionally spreading misinformation. Hey, really quick, I know this is really obvious to most of you, but this isn't me. If the 0 followers and 0 following didn't give it away, and the fact that it wants you to pay for a Telegram, which I don't have, didn't give it away, I do hope that you'd at least notice that that account name is that Nilk Powers guy. I'm not sure who that guy is. But anyway, I will never ask you for money. I'll never spam you for things like Telegram. If you want to support my channel in some way, or if you're just trying to find a link in my bio, that link will always, always, always come originally from my website. Even external links, you can go to my website to get that link. So if you see a video where I'm trying to tell you to go to a specific website and it looks kinda sus, instead of clicking on that creator's bio, just go to thatnickpowersguy.com/links. You don't have to worry about anything sus happening there. And most importantly, you'll never have to worry about me changing my name to Nilk. No judgment though. If your name is Nilk, I think that's a fine name.